Welcome into the PHNX Daily Bet Show, brought to you by the one and only DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and leave a 5-star review. Hi, Johnny.
Hey, today is Star Wars Day, and Shane robbed me of any creativity for the show title, so I do this in return to punish him. He is an avid Star Wars hater, and we won't allow that on bets today.
Yeah, clearly not. I don't even know where to go from here. Johnny, you want to host this show?
I can, yeah. Welcome to PHNX Bets Daily Podcast, presented by the DraftKings Sportsbook app. I'm a Stormtrooper today. I have my Stormtrooper helmet on. It is a collectible that is very near and dear to my heart, as well as the Phoenix Suns. We're going to get to tonight's matchup. But first, Shano, let's go through our bets from last night. Your boy, live from Tatooine, went 2 for 2 with his picks. Let's see what we got going on. The Grizz finally making it a competitive series. Ja Morant, what more can you say? And the Celtics, that game was the complete opposite of the first evening. I felt like the NBA, the officials, they want these games to go 6-7 game series. So we got two very competitive series moving forward, tied at 1-1. You absolutely love to see it.
Yeah. I am a little worried about the Suns tonight just because of Tony Brothers, but other than that,
right.
Matchup wise, I'm not at all. Yesterday, my picks 1 for 2. The Warriors -2, but then I had the Boston under, which was free money. So I took that to the bank. And then prop wise, not great. Giannis and the Bucks got blown out, so he wasn't able to get to 29. He had 23, I think, going into the fourth quarter, and then he just didn't play. So whatever it happens, and then Javon Carter didn't even shoot a 3. So one of those days, but I've been red hot, so we'll take one of these. And we'll get back on track.
You know, I was due for a performance like that. Now, my props didn't work out, one of which we did not get to partake in. Marcus Smart, I think he had a quad hiccup. Tough it out. Come on, bro. Celtics won anyway. Baby Tatum. Jaylen Brown had the first field goal. So
Jaylen Brown had every field goal in that first quarter.
He was fantastic. The Celtics, to me, they announced their arrival that series is going to be competitive. I just don't think Milwaukee has enough depth without Chris Middleton to make quick work of the Celtics. I think this is destined, Shane. Be interested to hear your opinion that this series goes 6-7 games. I really do feel like the Celtics are one of the more complete teams in the NBA. Top to bottom with the use of their roster, and I think that's really going to wear down Milwaukee over the course of this series.
Does your helmet make like voice change or something?
Yeah, I have a voice changer on the helmet. Yes.
Amazing.
Nothing but first class.
I do think this
there's a button. Go ahead.
I do think this Bucks series does go 7. I think the Bucks win, but it's going to be close. It's going to be a really fun series to keep an eye on. It's interesting to see how they're matching up against. No Chris Middleton, it helps, but with Giannis, it's interesting. I think it'll be fun. I'm not sure what it's going to look like for either of these teams when they get past this round, but I also just don't know who's going to come out of the other round, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But before we do, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use that promo code PHNX when you sign up. You can bet just $5 on the Suns to win, and if they do win, or any other team to win, you get $150 in free bets this week at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. It's safe, it's secure, it's reliable, and it's super fun. If you don't like watching the Celtics like I don't, you can bet on them and make it a little more fun. I know Johnny's a really big fan of the Celtics after his sweetheart Nets were swept in the first round. But regardless, you can make some scratch if you're not a new member by using the same game parlay feature, combine multiple legs to get a bigger payout. And if one of your legs doesn't hit and you place the same game parlay with 3 legs or more, you get your money back. So you can take a flyer on a first field goal tonight, like Johnny hit on the other night with Chris Paul, or you can play it safe and try to make some money that way. But regardless, if you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and you're a new customer, you sign up using that promo code PHNX, bet just $5 on any team to win their game in the NBA playoffs, get $150 in free bets if they do. That's promo code PHNX this week at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 plus, Arizona only, gambling problem, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only, minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for more details. All right, Johnny, what do we like tonight?
Well, first of all, we're going to keep it moving with the Phoenix Suns until otherwise spoken, and I'm taking the opposite approach. as it relates to the fraud 76ers and James Harden. I told you I'm not going to bet on them again until further notice. I barf in my helmet that I have to take Miami at -8, but here we are. I like both favorites big tonight in dominant fashion. I think we see the opposite of last night. I think both of these series go to 2-0. And then as it relates to the Dallas-Phoenix game, I do think we're going to see a robust amount of points. I think it's going to be a Luka versus Devin Booker kind of evening. And so that equates to maybe a 120-115 victory for the Suns, or a little bit more than that, I guess, if I'm hoping that the Suns cover. But lots of points, but eventually the Suns pull away in the fourth quarter.
And then you like the Heat?
I mean, I don't want to bet on the Heat, but I can't. After what I've seen from the Embiid-less Suns, and you're relying on James Harden and the Embiid-less Sixers, and you're relying on James Harden, he is not a one. We've known that for some time now. And the Heat, give their culture credit, like Jimmy Butler and company, like they put clamps down defensively, and they're going to force James Harden in situations that don't make him comfortable. His field goal percentage to begin the series is abysmal. I like Miami to win this game at home. Let's see if their fans will actually stay in the arena. But until Embiid comes back, I can't touch Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's why I'm touching Philadelphia, is because of the fans. So give me the Sixers +8 tonight. Big fan of them, and a big fan of the Suns as we pull up my picks. I just think that the Sixers team, there's no home court advantage when you're getting 3 points from the home court, and there's no home court advantage. It doesn't really matter. So I like them to cover. I think they lose by 5 or less. I think it's gonna be a fun one. I don't see them losing by more than 8, but we will see. But I like the over in that game anyway. I think that Miami's defense is a little slow now, and even if Philly doesn't end up winning this game or making it close, I could still see it going over. There's just not a lot of defense in the interior on either of these teams when it comes to no Embiid, and Adebayo's been, and then the Suns -6. We talked about this ad nauseum. I don't see this series being that competitive. I just don't. We saw in game 1, Dallas did everything they can.
Right.
Luka had 45 points, and the Suns were still able to win easily.
Is there a secondary player on Dallas that scares you at all, or no?
Jalen Brunson was terrible in the first game. In the first series, he was averaging over 20 plus a game. So maybe him. Dallas is just full of role players that can get scorching hot. Reggie Bullock goes crazy when he gets really hot.
Right.
We saw what Kleber can do. It's Bertans too. I mean, they just have a lot of streaky shooters on that team. So maybe the 3-point shooting gets hot. But we saw even when it got hot, even when they were shooting over 60% in that first half from 3, it didn't matter.
No, and you mentioned it with Jalen. That leads me right into my prop tonight. I'm going to bank on him just showing some life. CP3, Jalen Brunson, 2+ 3-pointers each at +45 on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. I like that a lot. I think Chris Paul gets his tonight in the form of 3 to 4 3-pointers. And so that's that to me, but +425. I would not be surprised to see that number go down before tip-off. That's a tremendous value, because Chris Paul is at least good to shoot a handful of threes. And if you're expecting him to make at least half, and I feel like the conservative game plan for Dallas will be to go into this game and for Luka to distribute, because he can't do it himself. He could have scored 50 in that last game and it wouldn't have mattered. So some of these old role players have to step up. So if you're looking at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, dabble into some of the second and third tier options for Dallas, because if they're going to win, that's how they have to do it.
Yeah. I did just want to bring up this quick point. I think that tonight the bigs are going to play a lot of against the small ball lineup of Dallas, because you saw it work at the end of the game. I don't think it's going to work. I think it's going to look a lot like what I look like in this graphic that we're going to pull up right now. I think you're going to be the Mavericks, and the Suns are going to be Jabba the Shane.
I'm surprised. First of all, that's incredibly offensive. I'm surprised you know who those characters are. That's Boosh, Princess Leia, which I'm happy to play the role of. That was my actual long hair once upon a time. And then, Shane, his eyes have been supplanted. And then we've got the dirty Shane stash. That might be one of the best things that's ever been produced here on the show.
I think on anything to do with PHNX, this might be the magnum opus of PHNX.
Can we get that
sports.
framed in the office? That's fantastic.
I mean, we probably could. But this is why I like the bigs tonight, and this is why I like my props tonight. I'm taking DA's over on points once again. Just love it. 19.5, get that at -110. And then JaVale also -110, over 8.5 points and rebounds. This is a lot in part one because they're going to let DA have his, I think, for the most part. They just don't want anyone else because they just can't stop him. I think they're going to accept that. So I think DA might go for his career playoff high and score 30+ tonight. And then I think that if they do get that lead late in the game, all JaVale needs is 3 rebounds, and he'll probably have 5 or 6 points or 6 or 7 points by that time. So I love this. I'm a big fan of these two. Might parlay them together on the DraftKings Sportsbook app with the same game parlay feature. We already talked about that, but download it. It's the best.
It is the best. What else is the best? Go PHNX.com when you can get all of our insight plus more. Suns, Cardinals, Diamondbacks is in full swing. Become a member at just 50 cents for the first month, $8.99 for the subsequent month, or you can save a little bit of coin, just under $60 for the year. Plus, you get a free T-shirt from our PHNX merchandise locker. You can't beat it, Chano. No PHNX Cardinals live today, but we're back tomorrow. But go dabble in the merchandise locker and gear up for the Suns game tonight.
Yeah, drop your predictions in the chat. If you have any player props you like, whatever you think, let us know in the chat before we get out of here. Also live at 3 p.m. ASU. PHNX Sun Devils live at 3 p.m. We're going to be talking a lot. We're going to be snake drafting something very fun. I'm excited for that. So don't miss out right here on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Well, Johnny, I just want to get your thoughts. I know we touched on it briefly. That Warriors-Grizzlies series.
Yeah.
First of all, Ja Morant, my goodness. If you guys haven't seen what he did to Jordan Poole late in that game last night with the half spin, full spin, whatever the hell happened there, Jordan Poole looked like he got tossed aside by paranormal activity. It was disgusting. But that man, 7 points, just commanded that game entirely. If he plays out of his mind, is it going to be enough to beat the Warriors?
It's not LeBron-esque, but it reminds me of that finals performance against Golden State before Kevin Durant came there and made it too lopsided, where to beat this Warrior team with these three star players, you have to have a Herculean offensive performance. And so if I'm Devin Booker and company, that's the template that it's going to take to beat them, especially with their death lineup humming like it was. So I would love to see that series go 6 or 7 games. I just don't think Ja Morant over the course of 7 games can keep up this kind of pace. I think at some point, just at, what is he, 22 years old? I think he gets exhausted. The rest of his team, I think, is just kind of sitting back in awe. I don't think, even with that win last night, they're long for this series. But it is nice to see because we had talked about it yesterday. Had they lost that game last night, they would have been swept. I firmly believe they would have gone to Golden State and not won a single game. So, I just offensively gifted players like that give Golden State problems. And so if I'm Devin Booker, that's the template. I need Devin Booker with the ball in his hands, shooting that amount of times as we look ahead to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, Kahana in the chat brings up another X factor, their defense last night. This is a team that's prided itself on its team defense, much like the Suns. He says defense will always win games. That rang true last night. They put that quote-unquote death lineup in with, Poole, Steph, and Clay. Clay was 5 for 19, I want to say. Just terrible. And it wasn't because he was just missing open shots. They were getting out on shooters. Again, it reminded me of the Suns, the way the rotations are so fast. Doesn't matter how much you swing the ball. Somebody's always ready. They're always in position. They're a young team. It's just a matter of time. Is Steph Curry going to have a takeover game? But on the other end, you have the offensive firepower to compete with it. So I'm really excited for the series, fired up for the rest of the playoffs. It's been fun so far. They've treated us to some good games. Hopefully no more blowout wins. Hopefully we get some close games down the stretch.
Yeah, East, I don't know what the hell's going on in the East, but the West has at least been
the East is just not great. Just isn't. There's some
no
star
Chris
power.
Middleton in Milwaukee. I do think that series gets competitive.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to be competitive even without him, but we will see. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. And also on Friday, Johnny Avello will be joining us from the DraftKings Sportsbook app once again to talk NBA playoffs. So I am fired up for that. Keep it locked in right here on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel all day. You can follow me on Twitter at Shane Deef. You can follow Johnny on Twitter at Johnny Venerable. You can follow the show on Twitter at PHNX_bets. And as I said earlier, don't forget to tune in to PHNX Sun Devils live at 3 p.m. It's going to be a good time. Peace, love, and PRA.